I'm just goofing off. I've been out of town, and I decided I'm going to set up my pinball streaming rig. I'm going to do a video on a full tutorial on this probably tomorrow. But I figured I'd set it up online and do a little live streaming and see if anybody is actually around to chat. And if so, then I'll play a few games. This is going to be a very short little thing because I've been basically driving for 9 hours today on the road, and I'm pretty exhausted. But before I go to bed, I wanted to set this all up and play this new game that I got restored. So just stand by. In about 30 seconds to a minute, I am going to start our little show here. So tune in and check it out. And if you want to chat with me, type something into the chat room, because this is going to be just a short little interactive thing. And I may actually delete this, so if you don't watch it live, you may not see it again. So it's going to be one of these kind of spontaneous pinball streams. I've done these before where I kind of tend to just spontaneously turn the thing on, stream out there. If anybody's online, they catch it. If they don't, and then I delete it later. So give me 1 minute, and I will be back. I need to have some kind of fancy graphic that pops up, but I don't right now. So is it coming out? Can you hear it? Is everybody? Can anybody see it? Let me know. Type something into the chat room. Hello, everybody. Hello, Eric. Nice to see you. Tell me where you're from. Chat with me. I have no expectations of really anybody tuning in because this is completely spontaneous, right? But I'm going to play this new game that I got restored, and if anybody has any questions, they can ask. Just give me 1 second. In about 30 seconds, we will start. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I just drove about between 500 and 600 miles today, so I'm kind of chilling out. You're in Portland. Portland's one of those places I really want to get up there. It's such a pinball scene, man. I'm in New Orleans, which is a very cool city, but there is no pinball here. If it weren't for me and my group, there'd be not hardly any pinball in the city, and there's still not hardly any pinball in the city, especially after COVID. But, you know, Portland, all kinds of cool stuff happening up there. So cheers for that. And so if you've been watching my channel, pinballhelp.com, I have been working on this game for a while. I don't know if I have all the videos up, but I picked this up. It was DOA, and now I have got it completely working. And it looks really nice and snazzy. This is a Bally Paragon. It's a wide body, early solid state game from 1979. This is the era when they were moving over from the electromechanical games to the solid states. So it's not a very complicated, super fast, elaborate, deep rule set. It's very simple, but it's a really fun game. This is regarded as an A-list game in the genre of early classic solid state games. So you have your different genres of games. You have the very, very earliest ones, which were kind of almost like museum pieces, not really as playable as they are kind of furniture, really, or antiques. Then you have the early wood rails from the 50s, which were kind of gambling devices. Very, very challenging games. And then you had the 60s and the 70s, which were the kind of the golden era of electromechanical games. The 60s had the short flippers, and the 70s had the size flippers that we're used to today. Then you had classic solid state, when they finally started moving from mechanical games over to early electronic games where they could keep track of the scores, and they used electronics to be able to keep track of what the players were doing. So it was a little bit more functionality that could be added, where you could actually have a high score that the game could save and that kind of stuff. And so this is from the early classic state of pinball. Bally, which is the company's still around today, but mostly they make casino and gaming devices now. They're not in the pinball business anymore. And I love this era of games because of the artwork. I mean, look at that beautiful, look at the beautiful back glass. It's pretty amazing. Just the D&D kind of thing where you've got this griffin attacking the maiden and this winged guy. I don't know what he is, what he would call him. He's almost kind of like a demonic thing too with those wings, but it's a neat setup, right? So, and hello, Rod from Australia, and thank you guys for tuning in. I know you just were in the right place at the right time and saw me go live, and I appreciate you popping in. So feel free to chat because I may delete this video after it's over. Um, Australia, that's another place I have not been. I love to scuba dive, man. I would love to see that barrier reef while it's still around. Um, Jungle Lord, Black Knight. Yeah, I had a Black Knight. What's the other one? There's a similar one that's even more rare than Jungle Lord. That's the same kind of Williams System 11. I saw it over at Dan Ferguson's. There was a couple of those with the same layout that were pretty rare. We have a few System 7 games in the collection, but they're more of a pain in the butt to work on, to be honest. I kind of tend to pick a particular architecture. Like, I just came back from Arkansas, where I have a couple of games stored up there, and a lot of them are Bally 35. So I just brought back like a whole bunch of driver boards and MPUs. I'm gonna like do them all, repair them all in one big batch. I don't know. I think as I get older, my brain just can't hold as much information as it used to, and so I tend to kind of focus on one type of architecture at a time because I have to actually refresh my memory. I have over 400 videos online, and I'll be working on something and I won't remember how to do it, and I'll realize I did a video a couple of years ago of how to do it. That's what happens when you get old. You can look forward to that. So this is a Bally Paragon, and what you're seeing here is a fully restored game. This is an interesting version of this game. It doesn't have a hard top, but it has a clear plastic overlay over the thing, so it makes it very reflective. So you will see in the video right over here, it's like there's a reflection, and that's actually off of the back glass. That's not there, but it's so shiny, it's pretty neat. So I've kind of tried to set up the lighting and everything so that it looks pretty good. Anyway, this is all original. The only thing I've done is I did LED it out. So it doesn't have it's got a few incandescents in some of the GI that's visible, but for the most part, it's LEDs everywhere else. But they're tastefully hidden. So if I threw this game on location, I think people would not recognize that it had been blinged out with LEDs, because everywhere you can see LEDs, there's incandescents. But the whole underside of the playfield is all LEDs, and all the back glass. And the back glass is pretty darn bright, so you can kind of see. I've got some warm and cool white lights up there. I did a whole post on pinballhelp.com where I tried different configurations of warm and cool LEDs as well as incandescents in the back box to try to get the best look of the thing. So be sure to check that out, pinballhelp.com. You'll see where I have put up different arrangements of LEDs or incandescent lights, and I let people pick what they like, so you can see all of that. But let's get to playing this game. So I'm kind of excited about this game because this is going to be part of a game that's going to be an ongoing evolution. And you'd think once you get a game completely restored, that's the end of it, right? But not in this case. I'm actually documenting not simply restoring the game and getting it working, but evolving it into something else. And I'll talk about that as I go. So this is a wide body. Okay, so this is not your typical game. It would end like kind of right about there. This is a big, monstrous game in the the early 80s, it was really popular to create these bigger pinball machines. The manufacturers just had to keep one-upping each other. Of course, the artwork and all that. And this represents that period when they were all trying to kind of outdo each other with more neat little gimmicks. And you'll see this is not your typical game. It's an asymmetrical layout. The left and the right are not the same. You have this pop bumper way over here. This is the beast area. This is the water area. These are the golden cliffs. This is the Paragon saucer. This is the treasure chamber here. So there's every little area is tied into the theme with the artwork and everything. It's really quite beautiful. So let's just start a game, and I'll talk a little bit about it. So what's interesting is, this is 1979. So there's no synthesized speech or anything like that. It's all bleeps and blurps, which is kind of really stark contrast when you see the theme of Dungeons and Dragons and attacks and stuff, and you hear bleep, 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 bleep. It just does not jive. The sound does not work with it. But I mean, everything at this time was like that. It was all electronic stuff. So that is kind of the weird disconnect, is the sound. So I'll play a ball real quick, and oh, that's dangerous. Oh, I'm not even going to try to hit it. That was going to go down the drain too. So the rule sets on these 80s era Bally's, they all kind of basically have the same basic rule set, which is you rack up bonus, and there may be a bonus multiplier, and then you cash the bonus out. And then there's some areas where you can keep getting higher and higher scores. You have the drop targets over here. Every time you knock them down, they start at 10,000, 15, 20, 25. So they go up every time you knock down the bank. You have, and there's various places that give you an add bonus. A bonus is these little lights that are lit up here in the middle. You start off with 1,000 bonus points, and you go up, and that's your kind of incentive not to tilt the machine, because you lose the bonus. You collect the bonus when the ball drains. So there's targets around here, and every time you hit certain targets, like this stand-up target here, or this stand-up target up there, or this left saucer, no, the right saucer, you will get 1,000 bonus points added to your bonus. Now the drop targets here, these are the multiplier. So if you knock, I think it's the first, you got to knock the first one down and hit the second one, and it gives you a double bonus. Or maybe you got to knock the first two down, and then it's 2x, 3x, and 5x. So if you keep hitting those, these are what are called inline drop targets. Obviously, you can't hit the second one until you hit the first one. And so that was a neat feature that was popular in this era. And they're still pretty popular. There's games to this day that use the inline drop targets, like Total Nuclear Annihilation. And I think the... oh! It's out. So... oh, bang. Oh! So obviously you also have two flippers to the right side and two flippers to the left. But the left flipper, one of them's up top, it's a small flipper. And you have the regular flipper. You have to be careful with these double flippers, because it's very easy for the ball to drain in between the two flippers. So you have to. This is a game where you gotta kind of adapt your playing style, because it's got a little bit of a different configuration than your typical machine. And all right, so yeah, the Paragon is a fun game. It's one of these short ball time games. You know, it's a pretty challenging game. I have not even been able to score a decent score on this thing yet. It's set up just like it would be on location. Oh. So on this game, to score the big points, what you really want to do is you want to hit that multiplier, but it doesn't really matter unless you got enough bonus. So basically the rule set is pretty straightforward. you want to hit the bonus multiplier and you want to rack up enough bonus. And it's basically, there's just certain targets that will give you bonus points. I think some of these rollovers will. These stand-up targets will. And one of the saucers gives you a whole bunch of points that increases each time. I think that's the left one, the Golden Cliffs. The one on the right lights a Paragon letter and gives you 1,000 bonus points. And then that star rollover up at the very top also gives you bonus points. And this spinner, if it spins 5 times, it gives you a bonus. So if you pound that spinner really rapidly, you can add up a whole bunch of bonus points. So all of these 80s era Bally's, there's literally like dozens of them. They have basically the same strategy. Rack up bonus, hit that multiplier, collect everything. In some cases, some games the bonus carries over from ball to ball. In some cases, you have to get a certain amount of bonus before it'll carry over. And in some cases, the bonus never carries over. In this particular game, if you can manage to hit 20,000 bonus, it will carry over. If you hit anything less than 20,000 bonus, it will not carry over, I don't think, to the next ball. So that's kind of an interesting feature. If you do really well on ball 1, you're guaranteed an extra 40,000 points to your score, even if you don't do anything else. So that's kind of nice. I don't know of anything else that carries over. I think the Golden Cliffs does. And the Golden Cliffs, this is this hole up here, and every time you hit it, see the 4 is lit, so that's 4,000. If I make it, I'll get 4,000 points, and then it goes up by 2,000. So every time I hit it, 2,000 more. And it's interesting because it's got some kind of like a name that tune style melody that will play, and every time you sink the ball in the hole, it adds one more note to that name that tune thing. And it's some kind of popular song from the time, which I forget what it is. You can look it up, but it's one neither one of us would probably know. So, all right, let's go. So in competition, the strategy is probably to just rack up the bonus. So I've got 10,000 bonus right now. There's 11. Oh, there we go. I just double bonus. Oh, did I triple bonus? I did. Okay. So now I have the 5x bonus lit. Can I get control of the ball? No, I can't. So I've got 3x. So that's 3 times 13,000. So that's a nice little thing. So Scott asks, why did pinball machines stop having specials? Actually, they never stopped having specials. Even today, pinball machines have specials. Although I guess maybe the more modern ones, the late model Stern ones that are coming out, specials are not as featured as they were. And I think, specials that was a way of awarding an extra game, and that was also a way that, it was kind of gambling. And so there were some problems in certain areas where you couldn't put games out on location because there was laws that said if a game awarded a credit, that was gambling, because people would put these games out in these bars and these clubs, and they would play them, and if they left credits on the machine, the people at the spot would give them their money back for the credits, turn it off. So it was kind of a way that they could use the games for gambling, which is why they came out with add-a-balls, where instead of getting a credit, you get an extra ball, or you can reprogram the special to be worth a certain amount of points, so that way people could play the games. There was no credits they could rack up that they could cash out later. So that was kind of a response to the anti-gambling legislation that popped up in the 60s and the 70s. But obviously, that thwack of the knocker was something that everybody kind of strived for in the heyday of pinball. You really wanted to impress people with that. So what is the graphic on the spinner? It's actually a skull. It's a skull is what it is, I guess. So this game obviously does have specials. And, ooh, So you see, I only got 13,000 bonus last ball, so it didn't carry over. If I could get 20,000, it will carry over. Woo! That's a dangerous little area there. So I only have 70,000. I don't know what a common high score on this thing would be, but I would say probably 300,000-400,000 minimum would be what you would set the threshold to win a game on this. So, okay, so Rod says, trap the ball on the left flipper and tap pass to the right and nail the inline drop. All right, that's a very ambitious request. Considering how much wine I've had tonight, I don't know if I could actually do that, but that's something worth trying. Okay, so catch the ball on the left flipper. Let me see if I can tap pass over to the left flipper. I really got it. You've got to practice this. Oh, yeah, every game has a little bit of a different. Oh, okay, let's catch it on the left flipper. Okay. Oh. Oh. No. Is this Bally's first pin with inline drops? I do not think so. I think Harlem Globetrotters probably predates this, if I recall correctly. I think Harlem Globetrotters may have been an earlier game, but that had inline drops too. But I could be wrong. You know, are these original or do I have stickers? I don't know. They're really nice, so maybe they are not original because they don't look. I can't tell if there's stickers on them. There might be. The game is mostly original, though. These 80s era Bally's, they were very simple, and so it's pretty rare to find them not worn out, because what would happen is the games were so reliable that as long as they were making money, the operators would just leave them alone. And one of the things that would happen is the ball would actually get rusty. And you get a rusty ball in this game, and it just starts wearing the playfield off like it's sandpaper. And there's a lot of these era games where you'll see just like no graphics in the middle. It's because the games were so damn reliable that they weren't serviced that often, Yeah, so I guess Dolly Parton had inlines too. Let's keep going. I love those inline drop targets, and in Total Nuclear Annihilation, they use them as a ball lock, where you hit the ball behind it, and the target pops up to hold it. That's kind of clever. All right. Oh, gotta be careful with them. So let's see if I can actually get a decent score on this. I can't guarantee I'm going to play well, considering how tired I am, but okay. Tap passing on these, you have to get in the zone. I can do it, but it's been a while since I'd rather do that kind of pass where you just a dead bounce and then. Oh. Okay. Those inlines, like the angle you got to hit them at, it looks like it's easy to hit, but I'm yapping and I'm not paying attention. Future Spa. Yeah, Future Spa has inline drop targets too. Similar kind of layout. And I really do like the Future Spa. And I have a Future Spa, and it's been one of my favorite. Well, my favorite wide body Bally is Hot Dogging. And then I got Future Spa, and I really like that too. And then Paragon. They're all similar, but they're all different in little ways. And I think that era Bally's are really a lot of fun. super short games. If you just got a minute and you want to distract yourself, they're great games to play. You know, modern games are so damn deep that you know, takes you a half hour before you get to someplace interesting and new. Whereas these games, you could be playing in 10 seconds and suddenly it's a cool game. Okay, there's one inline. I don't think that gives me a multiplier yet. I don't have a whole lot of 6,000 points. So now I've got 12,000 points for the left saucer. Oh, gotta be really careful. Okay, there we go. Oh, there's our multiplier. So I've got 2x now. So I've got 2x. If I knock this down, that's going to be 3x. So that's this is, let's see if I can do it. My playing is pretty crappy because I've had quite a bit of wine tonight. And so let's see if I can get it. Yes! Okay. Now the key would be, well, I'm on ball 3. But it'd be better if it was ball 1. Ugh. So can I hit the 5x? That's all the way in the saucer. Let's see if I can do it. Oh! And it didn't go all the way up. Try it again. Not enough either. Oh! See, you got to resist the urge to try to trap the ball on the right flipper because you can't do it. This game is so heavy that you can't. I don't have it on furniture sliders, so I can't slide the machine. So there's no real way to biff it. You know, I've seen a lot of Paragons. I think they made quite a bit of them, but this is probably the most sought after Bally wide body of them all. Although Medusa is also another one. I think it was made a lower production that goes for 3,000-4,000 on up. I see more Paragons than I do anything else. I would love to get a Medusa, but they're pretty hard to find too. Medusa's got a lot more interesting things going on, but yeah. F2K. What is Flight 2000? Okay, that's a Williams game, right? Flight 2000. I have a couple of wide bodies. In my wide body collection, I have I got a Paragon, I have a Future Spa, I have Hot Doggin. Those are my Bally's, and I have Gottlieb Genie that I love. That was my very first pinball machine. And what other wide bodies? And I've got a bunch of Williams super pins, you know, Judge Dredd and Red and Ted's Roadshow, and you know, stuff like that. I've got a Twilight Zone, and I've got a Star Trek: The Next Generation. But I keep coming back to these games because they're kind of Space Invaders. I don't have a Space Invaders. I went to go look at a Space Invaders. Some lady had one around here, and she was like a hoarder. The house was just absolutely filthy. She wanted $400 for this Space Invaders. And it was clearly in really horrible shape. It was sitting on the floor with no legs or anything, covered in cat hair, and the whole playfield was completely worn down to the wood. And she wanted $400 for it, and it didn't even turn on. And I'm like, I'm not paying that. I didn't want to be in this house. I thought I was going to get typhoid from being in the house. So it's probably still sitting in that house. But if I come across a game and it's got major wear or flaking in the back glass and it doesn't work, I mean, that's a parts game. Although I've never parted out any of those games, but you're going to put more money into it than you can get out of it. And so I normally pass on them. Okay. I do want to get a Space Invaders. I would love to get. One of my goals is to get all those '80s era Bally's and line them up because I think the artwork on them is just magnificent. You know, I think this is Paul Farris's artwork here. I ran into Paul a couple of years ago at the Houston Arcade Expo, and I had a Lost World, and I showed him the backlash, and he was like, "Oh, let me sign it." So I've got a signed Lost World backlash, which that's probably the best part of that whole game is the artwork. But I love all those the '80s era Bally's, just the artwork, the different colors. It's just my dream is to have a whole row of those guys. And I've been slowly collecting them, but I've never set them all up in one line. And I think that would just be too cool to do that. All three. Okay, here we go. Ah, this game is super frustrating. All right, well, I'll just keep playing a little bit. If you guys want to ask any questions or anything, you've got anything you want to ask. This was a spontaneous kind of thing. I'm going to do like a full video tutorial, and I'm going to talk about all the scoring. But what's really cool, what I'm really excited about with this game is what I'm going to do with it. So, I'll tell you what, hold on. I'll share with you guys a little bit. Let me go grab All right, so if you have any of these Bally games, they started from the late 70s to the mid to late 80s. It's a certain architecture called the Bally 35 or the Bally 18. Stern, the early Stern solid states use the same architecture. We call it the Bally 35 because basically Bally came out with this hardware, the solid state hardware, and then Stern copied it. And there's a couple of us that have been kind of fiddling around with this technology, and it all is because of a guy up in Maine named Dick Hamill. So Dick has been participating in some of the pinball forums, and he's like, trying to figure out, I guess he's a really accomplished electrical engineer, and he was asking somebody, what do you think about the possibility of taking an Arduino, one of those little tiny microcontrollers? So, like this is an Arduino Nano, right? What do you think about taking something like this? Can it control a pinball machine? And he was like, and people in the community were like, there's no way this little microcontroller can run the pinball machine. So he thought, well, if everybody's saying it can't be done, I'm going to certainly try it. So he tried it, and he actually managed to get it to work. So he designed a board. I don't know if I've got my original thing in here. So this is my box of prototype stuff. And I've been building these boards, and inside the back of this game is my original prototype, which is all just wires and everything. But now there's actually boards that have been etched where you can drop the Nano in, and this thing plugs right into the thing, and you can rewrite the code for this. It interfaces with the expansion port on the MPU board of the Bally 35 games. If you know C programming and you know a little bit about Arduinos, you can actually rewrite the code. It's still pretty challenging because there's not a ton of memory available, so you have to really write really nice, tight, concise code. It's not a multitasking operating system, so you have to write your own multitasking code. But anybody who has done any work on Arduinos knows that's kind of the nature of these things. It's very low-level programming. So I've been fiddling with Arduinos for years. I've been making LED lamps and all kinds of interesting programming stuff. So this was something I immediately glommed onto because it's my favorite architecture. So I have been, we've got a little Discord server where we're all kind of collaborating on re-theming different games. So the developer of this has already redone Trident, and I've done some videos, and I have a Trident. I restored it, put his system in, and it's pretty amazing. So if you haven't seen that, go to pinballhelp.com or look at the YouTube channel, YouTube/pinballhelp. You'll see some videos about this Trident that has been rethemed. So why would you want to do this, and is it really worth the hassle? Well, so this is really about $30 or $40 in parts. That's it. And then you just plug it in, and there's a jumper on here. You put the jumper in, it boots off of this. You pull the jumper out, it boots to the original code. So it's a non-destructive mod to the pinball machine. It'll completely play the original way if you want it, but if you keep this jumper in, it boots and it plays an entirely new rule set that you have put in there. So I can completely take control of the switch matrix, all the solenoids, everything, and I still am using the peripheral interface adapters in the main hardware in the system, but instead of running off of the 68,000 or whatever the CPU is, it's running off of the Arduino here, which is even more powerful than that. So you can take a little PC, plug the USB into it, and recode it. It's pretty cool. I think in the next 6 months we're going to see a lot more of this stuff that's going to kind of come out. And this is really, I'm excited about this. And then you'll see this is an extra little thing here. This is called a wave trigger. This is an Arduino peripheral that has a spot for an SD card. It's got a serial interface, and it's got all these individual triggers, right? So what we've done is we've interfaced the Arduino Nano to the wave trigger. Now this board is about $50, $60. This is the most expensive component in the whole package, right? The Arduino Nano is $10. These boards are about 20 something, and you just have to solder them together. So about 30 or 40 bucks, you've got your redone rule set. You add another 50, 60, and you have all new sound. This is, I think it is a 12 or 14 channel polyphonic wave trigger. This plays CD quality sounds up to like 14 separate tracks simultaneously. This is as powerful as any of the modern computers out there. You can have background music going that is CD quality, and you can have sound effects, and it's all in wave files. So basically you take you know, all your sounds and you edit them together, you put them on a micro SD card and you stick it in here, you hook that into that, and now you've not only rethemed the rules, but you've rethemed the sound. And it's pretty amazing. So this is the game that I am going to use to learn and get into programming on it. I've already started doing coding. I'm not yet ready to share what I've done, but this is my package of stuff I've been working on. And I'm also working on Mata Hari with Dick. I'm also helping him debug that, and he's also redone Meteor, and I think there's another guy working on Flash Gordon. I absolutely am going to be retheming a number of Bally games. I'm going to probably do Paragon. I'm going to do Hot Doggin'. I'm going to do Future Spa. One of us is going to do Supersonic. I don't know who's going to get to it first. I'm absolutely going to do Spectrum. Yeah, Roy G. Bev. I got some of his boards here, and I've been playing around with them too. And I guess right now there's about 3 or 4 games that have been done. If you have a Meteor or a Trident, those games are pretty well polished. And you think, well, what can you redo with these games? It's actually pretty darn cool. If you want to get into the Discord, look for a Discord called Pinball Streamers. Let me see if I can. You know what? Send me an email, mike@pinballhelp.com, and I will send you the link to the Discord, okay? And I'll invite you guys in. I actually have adjusted this. This is pretty cool. Check it out. So to get everybody kind of motivated, I've got a laser cutter, and so I've done these custom little plaques that say Arduino-powered pinball. And we call it BSOS is what Dick has called it, Ballystern OS. He's done his own modified version. So I've laser cut these little plaques that can probably sit like right there on the game, and so we're having fun with this. It's gonna be pretty neat. I also was playing around with etching it onto plexiglass. You can't really see that, but if it was lit right, you can probably see it. And a little, I call it bee sauce. I'm in New Orleans, so we like hot sauce. So we've got a little hot sauce bottle with the Bally logo on it. We're just playing around with stuff. It's in the early stages. So I'm excited to talk about the rule set of this game and what I want to do with it, because I got some interesting things. But all right, Scott, thanks for hanging out. I applaud anybody that's hanging out this long, because this is just a spontaneous kind of thing that I was doing. So, what can you do with the game if you could rewrite the rule set? Have you ever asked yourself that? I mean, there's games that you play where you're like, man, this is unbalanced. If you've ever done any competitive pinball, there's some pinball machines you just can't use in competition because there's certain tricks to them where you can just rack up a lot of points and it's not very challenging. This game, Paragon, is a game that's highly respected in competitive pinball circles. It's just plain hard. It's well balanced. So why would you want to mess with this game and ruin it? I don't want to, but I've got some interesting ideas of, first off, the fact that the bleeps and bloops don't work with the sound. So I want to, at the very least, I would like to add all the functionality, but add all new CD quality sound. So when you hit the start button, it's like, there's a monster, or you hear a maiden or something like that. So we're going to record all new sounds, and it'll be a really nice, high-quality kind of sound experience, too. And I like the idea of when it's counting down the bonus, instead of it just being beep, 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 it'll be like sword hits, So the more bonus you get, the more the battle is. You'll hear all the sword hits and stuff like that. And so I could change all these sound effects to fit more in with the idea of the theme. I mean, I love this electronic bleeping and blooping. I mean, it's kind of it's part of the whole history and vintage nature of it. But I think it would be neat when, you hit these things and you hear the beast, storming up and everything. And if you see my video where I showcase the Trident mod, you'll see the sound is just so good on it. It really is. So my plan is to retheme this. I'm going to keep the rule set somewhat the same, but I have my own ideas for what I want to do with this. Now, my approach to this, and I'm still working it out, but I want to keep the basic game the same, where you have to rack up the bonus. But I want to steal an idea from a Zachariah game. I think there was a Zachariah game called Time Machine. And Time Machine had this interesting idea, that was bad, where I don't know if it was it was a 3-ball or a 4-ball game, but you would play the regular game and you would rack up time that would give you a bonus ball, and how well you did in the game would give you an opportunity to play an extra ball for a certain amount of time. And I kind of like timed games, so I thought, wouldn't it be neat to modify this so that, like, for every 1,000 points of bonus you get, at the end of the game you get one extra ball, where you get 1 second for every amount of 1,000-point bonus you have. So you got like one last-ditch effort to get as much points as possible. So I'm kind of toying with that idea and that's something that I could do within the confines of this. I could create like an extra ball. What we're seeing with redoing these rule sets is these early games did not have skill shots. Most of them didn't. So you can have skill shots. You can also have ball saves. Now, can you turn a single ball game into a multi-ball? Yes, you can. It just depends on how you do it. These games don't have auto plungers. These single ball games also don't have a way of detecting more than one ball. So if you have a one-ball game, when the ball lands, it sits there in the trough. In multi-ball games, the ball hits the trough and then it kicks it into a holding area that keeps track of how many balls it has. So it is possible to mod one of these games from a single ball to a multi-ball, but it's going to take a little bit more creativity because you have to figure out how you can tell where that second ball is at any time during the game. So that may require a little bit more creativity. But that's what I like about this technology is we're going to see people use their creativity. The hardware and all that is going to be basically the same. So it's really a challenge. Can you think outside of the box without hacking or modding the hardware too much? Can you make the game that much more interesting and playable? And I am up for the challenge, so I'm kind of psyched about that. All right, so let's play another game or two, and I'm going to wrap this up. It's been a long day for me. I'd hoped to get more progress on the Matahari when I was out of town, but I just, I have a day job, and pinball doesn't always pay the bills, so I ended up getting distracted with my day job, and I couldn't fiddle around with the pinball machines as much. So I've got two places where I've got games, and one of them is like, it's 9 hours away driving. So I get up there every now and then to my little place in the woods where I've got a log cabin literally filled with pinball machines. And I get up there. I've got a bunch of neat games, and I'm hoping to do more restoration on those. But when you're up there for literally a week, I'm so busy dealing with. If anybody who's ever owned a house, you know how it is. Gutters, termites, and things, mowing stuff, and it's a pain in the butt. Oh, come on. Let me see if I can do it. This is a hard game to do a tap pass on. Let's see. This stand-up target here doesn't seem to register a whole lot. I wonder if the capacitor's been clipped off of it. All right, so yeah, Paragon it's a fun game. So you have a cheetah. That's a Gottlieb game, I think. But I've come across Paragons a couple of times. This I got from a friend, so I got a pretty good deal on it. Although I still paid, I think, pretty fair market value. When I got it, it wasn't working. Yeah, stand-up targets are typically a sucker shot, but they do give you the advanced bonus. All right, let's see what I can do. I can't play with this crap. That's what happens when you have too much wine. But thank you guys for tuning in. I just wanted to get my computer set up and see whether or not it was even working, because I haven't done any live streaming in a while. So I'm just thankful there's somebody out there who actually tuned in, because if I was smart, I would have just went to sleep, but... Alright, let's see. There we go. Okay, so that one worked that time. There we go. Alright. So the idea was to have a tap pass to the right flipper and then shoot the thing. My tap passes are so lame. Let's see if I can do it though. That was okay. I got my drop catches down. Okay, here we go. Oh. No! Cheetah. Yeah, that's an obscure one. I come across some of those like Pink Panther. That was one I came across early on that I never saw again. That I didn't jump on because I didn't realize how rare it was. But I'm kind of I got into Gottlieb's early on, and I think I like the Bally's better. Although I probably have more Gottlieb games than I do Bally's. So I guess, leave it at that. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you want to find out more about our Discord, send me an email, mike@pinballhelp.com. I'm located in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where I am at right now. And there's literally very few places. I had a pinball place that I had opened called the Mystic Crew Pinball Parlor downtown. We had a bunch of games out, but COVID put an end to that. So um, we don't really have a whole bunch of games out. I have a private club that we are supported just by members. If you want to find out more about that, it's Mystic Crew with a K, MYSTICKREWE.com. You can find out more about that. We basically have this private building, an old church building that we bought and renovated and turned into half of it's a makerspace, half of it is an arcade and a recording studio. And if you want to find out more about the stuff we got going off there, go to pinchurch.com or my other YouTube channel, which is YouTube/pinchurch, PINCHURCH. It's not religious. It's just that we bought a church building and we turned it into this private pinball studio. It's pretty neat. So that's kind of what we've been doing with COVID. Everything has been kind of holed up. We've all been kind of not doing a lot of socializing, but now slowly everybody's getting their vaccinations, so we're starting to do things again, and we're looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. So thank you all for tuning in, and stay tuned for more. I'm going to be posting, got a bunch more new videos and interesting things brewing, and I am going to produce some videos chronicling the whole process of how to use this new technology to retheme these games. But I really want to come out with something pretty cool first, so I'm kind of taking my time learning the technology and playing around with it. So you'll see little snippets here and there, but there's going to be a lot more coming really, really soon. And so I guess that's it. I'm going to wind it down tonight, but I want to thank everybody for watching. And if you want to find out more, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, YouTube/PinballHelp. I don't have a Patreon. I'm not really asking anybody for money. I don't really make a whole lot of money off of this, but if you want to subscribe, that definitely helps. And visit the site. And there's also an Instagram if you want to find out. That's I've a Pinball Help Instagram, but also my more active Instagram is Mystic Crew, MYSTICKREWE. And until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm really grateful that y'all are out there. And if there's a way of getting notifications of my webcast, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, pinballhelp.com, Pinball Help, YouTube/Pinball Help. Same thing. Click subscribe, click on the bell, and you'll get notified. Also, I think I'm streaming on Facebook right now too. Although if you like the Facebook page, which is Facebook/Pinball Help, maybe they'll let you know, maybe they won't. That's the problem with Facebook. But if you definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube, you'll get notified. And I don't do enough interaction with people, and people are always asking questions, and I'd love to share what I know. So we could do this more often if I can get everybody, that show up. So I'm very happy you guys are caught my little impromptu thing. Stay tuned for more, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon. So see you later.